How would you feel if you saw them again? That person that you once loved so dearly, that person that you spent so much time with, the good times and the bad times. How would you feel if you locked eyes with them? Maybe across a grocery store, maybe across a parking lot. Maybe you were driving and they're in the opposite lane. You guys are stopped at a stoplight, or maybe they're right next to you in the other lane. How would you feel? I know for me, it's happened quite a few times, but yet I haven't locked eyes with this person. There's moments where I've gazed this person, and I don't even know if they've known that, but it's hard and it's weird because you feel the ache. Your body knows before your mind can catch up. And it's happened to me countless times again and again and again where my body reacts before my mind can know what I'm looking at or can know who's around me. And the feeling I get immediately from that is the feeling of my body just wants to drop. I think the hardest thing is that when you finally get to move on and you finally are over a person, it's easier until you get to see them again or until life decides to throw you that curveball of seeing them again. It's one of those hardest feelings to ever overcome because it's like you're mourning a person that's passed, and in a way they're gone. It is that version of them that you once loved so dearly. It is gone. It's no longer there, but yet the person itself isn't. The person that's them is still around. They're still living. They're still doing everything that they want to do, but just without you around, without you near them, without you next to them. And so when you see this person, it's like seeing a ghost. It's like seeing someone you're not supposed to see. It's like as if they came back from the dead. How? But they're not. They're still here. They're still around, and it's hard because your body just gets into this shock. I've had it. It's a weird feeling where your stomach turns and your heart just drops down to your stomach, and it's a weird feeling. But even in those times, you have to catch yourself and you have to remind yourself. And even to me, because this happened yesterday, this is why I'm speaking about it. You have to remind yourself that they're just a person. They were a person before you met them, and they are a person after you met them. They were your love, of course. They were your lover when you were with them. But before that, they were just a person. And after that, they are just a person. And it takes some time because it definitely took me some time too. But one thing that really helped me a lot was just breathing and just reminding myself one final time, my brain just triggering that and saying, they're just a person. And immediately my body started to get into like this calm state where it just reminded itself, okay, yeah, they're just a person because they have no control over your life. They don't dictate what you do, they don't dictate who you are. They are just a person. Yes, you loved them. Yes, you cared about them. And hell, you might even care about them when you see them again. You might even still love them. And that's fine. But just know at the end of the day that the person you loved is no longer there. They are gone. There might be a remnant or the littlest spark, depending on how things ended. Because love has a weird thing of coming back when you least expect it. It's coming to you in different parts of your life when you don't expect love to show up. But you have to remind yourself that even then, they are just a person and you are your own. I remember when I was driving by this one day in my car, and I was driving past this other opposite lane that was going to turn left. And there was just a line of cars just waiting. And I was just driving by, just minding my own business, playing my normal music, having fun, singing, doing my thing. And it wasn't until I think I dropped my phone or some gum, like a packet of gum, and I went to go down to reach it, and I was still, reaching it, but still looking on the road, that at the corner of my eye, I saw their car. And my body reacted before my mind did because my body immediately had that boom, that feeling, that ache where my body just wanted to drop. Yet, my mind didn't register it until like maybe a second or two later, where I realized, what is this feel like? At first, my thought was, what the heck's going on? And then I realized, wait, that was your car. I know that car anywhere because I've driven it. I know what it looks like. And it's a weird feeling to have because even then, I can move on But the test really comes when you get to see them again. And for some of my past relationships where I've really cared about this person, I haven't seen them again. And I don't know how I would react seeing them years from now. One that was really meant a lot to me was almost 10 years ago. That started 10 years ago, and the last we spoke was 5 years ago. And it was hard, but they live in a totally different state. And it's, I think, a 10 times more harder when there's someone that you loved about deeply, but they still live within the same area as you, let alone the same state as you. So you really don't know how to navigate your feelings when they finally come face to face with you. And the hardest part, even with that, is also locking eyes with them. I There's one moment as well, back in September, October 2025. I was working and doing this side gig of Amazon Flex. And I went at my usual time. This was one morning on Sunday. I woke up late and I had to literally get my shoes on and get out the door. I went out the door and I just put on whatever clothes I had on, messed up hair. I didn't even put on any of my accessories or jewelry that I had on. So I just went out the door and just went in my car, dipped as fast as I could, got there. And I got there right on time, but it was still, so I had to find some parking. And it wasn't until that I passed this lane, there were this, I guess, road of parking spots that were all filled up, by the way, that I realized that was their car. On the one day of the whole time I've been doing this whole side gig, there was never one day where I would come messy. I would always come prepared. But this one day that I did, life decided to throw a curveball. God decided to throw a curveball. And they showed me this person. And it was hard. I remember finding a parking spot and sitting in my car freaking out. I was wondering to myself, what the heck is going on? I haven't seen you in months, yet I see you now. How do I navigate this feeling? In the end, I just sat in the car for about, I guess, would say 5, 10 minutes, just wondering if they would leave, if they would leave, if they would leave, but let alone they never did. I had to kind of face it. So I gave myself a deep breath and I just told myself they're just a person. I got out of the car and I got my route and I went back to my car and I started loading up as fast as I could. I kept looking up out of every package that I put in the car just to make sure that if they passed by, they didn't see me because I just didn't know how to feel if they saw me. Let alone also I was just completely dressed as like messy and I didn't like how I looked, so I was like, please don't see me. In the end, they did because they drove right past me, and by the time I looked up, there was a Prius in front of me. Behind that Prius was their car. And by the time I wanted to look who was driving, it was already too late because the brights and the high beams were just on, or the headlights were on, and they were just blinding me, so I just couldn't see anything. By the time I was able to see who was inside the driver's seat or passenger seat, it was too late. All I just saw was the new partner that they were with. But that wasn't the only time. That was the closest encounter I think that they saw me. But another time I have to say would be, I think, the next couple weeks that followed up after that. There would be maybe once a week that I would see them again. And it was hard. It was very hard because I would try my hardest to just not lock eyes with them because I knew that the moment you lock eyes with this one person, the moment that I locked eyes with this person, all of the feelings that I had from the breakup and since that day that we just separated would come back. All of the feelings of sadness, of love, of joy, of good times, bad times, happy times, they would all come back just like that in that moment. And it would be so hard to try to even contain my emotions at that point. I remember one time that I was loading up my car again. This was probably now October, a month later. And I remember that they were there. They were probably 3 or 4 rows of parked cars in front of me. And I remember just kind of looking up. And even then, looking up, I wouldn't look at them as far as I could. I knew that they were outside, but they were, I think, dead on staring at me. And I knew it out of the corner of my eye, but I told myself, if I look, am I prepared to see? Am I prepared to feel what I'm going to feel? In the end, I said no. But it's one of those moments where if you can really do it, be prepared to feel what you're going to feel. Because those emotions that you feel, they were the emotions of not only the past of when you were in love with them, but the present of now how the breakup affected you. So let me ask you, are you prepared to see this person again? Are you prepared to lock eyes with this person? And are you prepared to feel the emotions that come with doing that? What would happen if you saw this person again?